What's going on there, Jerk Faces? It's your boy Andy, and you're watching Nocturnal Transmissions, brought to you by the Circle of Jerks podcast. It's our weekly live stream. We talk about news, current events, you know, have some thought exercises, as well as our movie review. Tonight we'll be continuing our theme of Keanu Month with 2000's The Watcher, starring, of course, with Keanu Reeves and James Spader. And with me, and Marissa Tomei and Ernie Hudson. Let's not forget Ernie Hudson. Yeah. And with me as ever is the homeboy Rob. Yeah, happy Tuesday to you all. It's another scorching day here in the San Fernando Valley. Yeah. It was crazy. It was my day off from work, and for some reason I got hit with a massive I got hit with a massive sleepies. I was trying to do something. And then for the life of me, I couldn't keep my eyes open, and just it's like I hit the wall. I hit the proverbial wall, and just oh, I can't go on. And I was right in the middle of my thing. I was trying to soldier on as best as I could, but it's I can't do this. I have to take a nap. The only thing that I could, the only thing I can guess as to what contributed to this was I didn't have my coffee this morning. Yeah. I messed up with the routine, But yeah, I was massive because I was on my computer doing some stuff for myself, and then all of a sudden it's just it hit me. Yeah, I ran into a literal wall. It's boom. I started to started to droop. It was hard for me to concentrate, and yeah, just yeah, that those caffeine receptors.
Normally I will watch the movie that we're gonna watch, usually Friday or Saturday, and because of stuff that we'll talk about here in a second, I wasn't able to do that. So I had to finish up my notes for a movie I'll be talking about soon on Amigos, which is it's quite an undertaking. It's a big film. It's gonna be a big episode. So I got my notes on that. So I was all right. I think I looked at the time for the watch. It's not that long. It's under an hour 40. So I can do that Tuesday after I get home from work. I started to watch it, and it was and it's not because the movie was boring, but I was I'll hit a wall. I couldn't stay up. I tried 4 times, and I kept falling asleep the same at the same moment. Kind of when you read a book, you keep reading the same paragraph over and over. It was like that. Yeah. So I was okay, let me just take a nap. I'll wake up and I'll dive into this. I set my alarm. After I woke up, I was okay. Now I can get into the movie, and so I was able to finish rewatching it. And yeah, dude, I feel the exact same way you do. I've kind of been doing a lot the last few days, and I think it caught up to me.
Yeah, same. Yeah, it's just it was crazy because I can't remember the last time I ever felt that tired. I mean, I'm sure it's happened before, but again, it's been a while since I had that feeling, and I mean, it's just it's completely uncontrollable. It's you're fighting it as hard as you can, but it's to no avail, and because your eyes are they might as well have lead weights strapped to them because that's how much success you're gonna have at keeping your eyes open.
Yeah, that's why I brought some Coke out tonight because I don't want to hit a wall while
Oh,
we're
smart. Yeah, 'cause I'm
streaming.
like, I don't even think I'm like fully recovered because
Yeah.
I mean you see me now, I'm like kind of yawning and whatever, but yeah, that might have been the move. But
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't have my coffee this morning because I, kind of the story of my life right now. But yeah, our refrigerator is the ice maker. It's like it's on the blink. Like it's not producing as much ice as it used to.
Oh, dude. You,
And so,
oh
because
no.
for those of you that don't know about this me, but I love my iced coffee. That is my preferred. That is my preferred method of coffee consumption, iced coffee. And I make my own, I make I make some coffee. I make it a little bit stronger than normal, and then I pour it over some ice. But we didn't have enough ice this morning, and so I had to go without my coffee, and so I think that was slightly contributory to me hitting the wall at freaking like I think like 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah. Yeah, you get into those routines like because now before I could stay till 2, 3, 4 o'clock easily if I was really pushing. Now I I hit a wall like 11 p.m. Like it never just because I'm used to waking up at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. So I've been going to sleep around no later than 10 usually. And I just I get to a point now like right it's 11 o'clock. I was like, yeah, I'm feeling good, and then 11 o'clock hits, and then boom, like the lights go out for me. Doesn't it never
Yeah,
fails.
I think we're getting old, Rob. I think we're getting old.
I I think that's what's happening.
So sad, so sad. But I mean, we had a pretty good weekend. I mean, we did actually we actually did hang out in IRL. So
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I had a bunch of people over at my place. Uh, some of my cinephile friends, some who kind of work in the industry, in various, and we've been kind of talking about having a night together. And honestly, for probably if we could have done it like where we would just end up talking about movies and never actually watch anything, but we ended up figuring out what we were gonna watch. Uh, I wasn't really sure exactly where we were gonna go with it. We didn't have a theme planned or anything. But when Andy showed up, I was like, I know what we should do. And I grabbed the old reliable uh, Pool Hall Junkies, which is always a riot. It's a like Andy and I talk about it. It's probably the best pool hall film outside of The Hustler. I think it's got a lot of great themes and everything. Even though my co-host on Cinemas didn't
them
agree, but
bums, them
I
bums.
think that everyone in the room enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking to you, buddy. Sometimes he dives into the chat, Andy, so he's probably frothing at the mouth right now. It's like, no, it's a terrible movie. Yeah, we watched the black exploitation movie known to man, Boss, and we finished out with a film that I think I'm the only one who likes this film. Harley Davidson, the Marvel Man. Me and my dad. This film, but it was kind of a fun triple feature that we had. And it was just fun talking about movies and kind of. I found out some of my friends they're like who they know a lot of films, but then I was able to share films with them that they didn't know about. Like, oh, you haven't seen this? Oh, this is great. And so it was just a lot of fun. And when Andy shows up to a party, it's it just elevates it.
Yeah.
So we had a lot of good food and good company, and it was a lot of fun, man. My dog was happy. She was, dude. She because of all the attention she got, she I think she slept until like middle of the
Oh
afternoon
wow.
on Sunday. She just completely tucker. Because normally she wakes me up at like 6 a.m. when I'm off. So she's like, I gotta go for a walk because she won't wake up. Joyce, so or my wife won't wake up. So to walk her in the mornings, but she didn't even wake me up. So it was kind of get to sleep in. It was nice.
Yeah, yeah. Saturday was cool. Really enjoyed myself. Yeah, it's always it's always
Glad you came out.
a good time when you could introduce people to Pool Hall Junkies. Yeah, I think I saw that movie in theaters.
That's lucky. See, I would have had I known about that film back then. I told that was right in the time that I was always going to the theater. I would have watched it had I known about it.
Yeah.
It's such a fun
Mm-hmm.
movie. Love it.
All right.
Well, should we dive into our
Yeah,
topics there, Andy?
let's do that. Where would you like to begin first?
Why don't we start with local stuff? Let's rant on
All
Gavin
right.
Newsom again, dickhead.
Yeah. Those of you not living in California, uh, it's kind of a shithole now. It's been a shithole for a while, and but but all of a sudden, Gavin Newsom's got a bug up his butt, and he's decided that he's gonna clean up this state, even if he has to roll up his sleeves and do it himself. And over this past week, he he did what's it called, a photo op. He did a photo. So, he did a photo op in a press conference, and he's like, oh, to show like, oh, he's a real man of the man of the people or whatever the fuck. And he had some choice words for residents of the Golden State.
And how he to celebrities who bitch about fans not wanting to watch their stuff, and like it's like, oh, it's because of you incels that don't like us. That's why you're not watching it. No, Gavin Newsom essentially blamed fellow Californians, the people that say it's like, this is you because you're not doing enough. You could make things happen, and you're not making it happen. It's like, so for years you've been getting in the way of people actually trying to do something, and now you have a bug up your butt. All of a sudden, you're blaming the rest, even though you have continued to block legislation and block nonprofit organizations from actually doing what should be done. So you can go fuck yourself, essentially. It's the gaslighting is ridiculous. It falls for shit. I feel sorry for you, man. Like, it's the guy is a complete slimeball, and don't we talked about it last week. He doesn't care. He's pretending to care right now. And there's an angle to that. The angle is there's something that he is working towards for himself. I still think it's obviously it's like the vice, not something as the vice presidency, but he's working for a cabinet position in Washington. I guarantee it. I think that's what he is gearing up towards.
Yeah. Was it? Yeah. I also thought.
Especially because Kamala being the candidate, like if she God forbid, gets in the office, a fellow Californian, why don't you throw him in cabinet position? Look how good I've state going.
Yeah. Yeah. At the outset, yeah, I thought he was jockeying for what is it? Yeah, I thought he was jockeying for a position to as Biden's replacement. But then he outright disavowed.
That's what it was looking like
He
towards. Yeah,
outright
yeah.
disavowed that notion, and then
Well, that doesn't mean anything.
yeah, I guess, but it was telling because he didn't have any follow up. Was maybe sometime in the future, or he didn't have any those caveats. Which you say one thing and mean another, and that's kind of common in politics. But he didn't necessarily telegraph that he might go for a run in sometime in the future. But then he again confounds. Uh, he then confounds by passing this law, which ostensibly cuts parents out of their child's educational careers, having it so that what is it that the school is no longer required to notify parents of their child's um, choice in gender expression, or if they really choose to want to be called by a different name, or wear different clothes. The school is no longer required to notify the parent, and so you see that move and you're like, why would he do that? He because so, a move like that, a move like that doesn't scream presidential run. It's like, I'm happy where I am and I just want to be dictator of California. Because if he's trying to court voters, particularly in flyover country, you can't do stuff like that. You can't go and say oh yeah, the parents have no say in the right, no say in the child's life. That's political poison, particularly for those in the middle of the country. But then he comes out and does this, saying he needs to. I mean, he does the whole cleanup thing, but then I think he's kind of scuffs the landing by then blaming uh, the citizens of California, saying oh, this is your fault, this is your doing. And I mean, in a very kind of roundabout philosophical ways, right? Because people voted for shit that they didn't fully comprehend, and they allowed props they amendments or whatever bills to pass that they had no fucking clue what was gonna do to them, like Prop 47, which sounds nice on paper, but that's as far as it should go, paper, and it should not be enacted into law. For those of you unaware, Prop 47 was the proposition to increase the threshold of crime. So someone can steal, or someone could larcen up to $950
without
incurring a felony. It's so basically theft up to $950 is a misdemeanor. $951, then it becomes a felony. And so that's why you have these big compilation of videos of people just robbing stores without any shame, without any semblance of.
Governor of California said, take it. Thank you.
Yeah, please, thank you, sir. May I have another? And Gavin Newsom says, yes, you may.
That's why now when you go to your.
Yeah, that's why shaving cream is locked up at CVS.
Well, if your local pharmacy or grocery store hasn't down, you'll notice how pretty much everything is under lock and key to prevent
that's why
that.
Shaving cream at your CVS is behind plexiglass.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, and you can thank the your state legislatures and governor for that lovely proposition.
Right. I mean, and even so
we don't want to put people in jail. That's racist.
So yeah, it's so in a way, again, I'm not backing this guy, but in a way, yes, Gavin Newsom is correct that it is our fault for allowing this to happen. But not, but it's not, but it's not because of our complacency. It's because you had fucking propositions and bills worded in such ways that you didn't know. I mean, great example is the gas tax. Um, that was proposed just like probably like 15 years ago or something. And it was worded in such a way that if you voted, yeah, because if you voted
Yeah,
no on it,
yeah,
you were actually voting for it.
yeah. It's real shady shit.
So
I think there was something that uh, I believe I maybe remember this wrong, but sometime during the campaign that Trump was talking about, we need to create something. Something I've been talking about a lot was as far as um, single issue bills that don't require 20 people reading them at like hours a day to know exactly what's on it. It's easily um, understood within a day or two, and the American people can understand what's in it. And he's like, I think we need to make a law to make that happen, so we don't have these insane omnibus packages with these stupid riders on it. It just we're doing one thing. If you want to have your policy on there, like it's all there. It's not just attached in you know middle of this giant 1,000-page bill. And so even though everything sounds good, you're actually allowing these other thing or two to be snuck
yeah,
in.
yeah, no more omnibuses.
And that's kind of like what these people are doing with all these propositions. They're wording in such a way so it's like you don't not want that tax, right?
Yeah, the double negative.
Yeah, it's like these double negatives and loop-de-loops. Yeah, ridiculous. But yeah, no, I hope people don't buy into having some bull. I'm trying to, I know we had a recall not that long ago, but I think do we have another election coming up with to potentially replace him? I don't know. I don't even know if I don't know if that's coming up. I don't think it's coming up this year. It might be in 2 years that he's up for re-election.
Maybe, yeah.
But honestly, I don't see much changing.
Yeah, neither do I.
Yeah, because when did that recall happen? That was like what, 2021?
I think that's yeah. Or 2022. 2021 to 2022.
Okay, yeah, so that it's definitely not this year. It'd be so I think it's 2 years from now that he's up for re-election. And like I said, unless God forbid Kamala becomes the president and he ends up getting a cabinet, is what I think he's trying to snuggle up to.
Perhaps, yeah. I mean, I'm just reminded of the quote
But yeah,
in Art of War. All war is based off disinformation. So he could just be doing this to just to.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it's a technique. That's essentially what it is. And God, that's coming back into the zeitgeist again. That term. But that's what these guys are doing from the Democratic Party. They don't respect you. They don't like you. They don't want to serve anybody but themselves, whether it be for power or finance their own financial benefit. That's what they care about, and they want to step on people who actually make this country run. And it's like I said, it's this shell game of we're not actually going to do anything. All we're going to do is enough so that people donate to our campaign funds, and so we can get elected again. That's what it is.
Yeah, I just find it hilarious because actually where the photo op took place was uh, pretty close to my church.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, I know that area. I just couldn't. I wasn't 100% sure, but now you say that, it's like, yeah, I think I
Well,
know
I mean, it
exactly
was.
where that is.
I think in the report that I saw, it said that he was in North Hills, and yeah, that's where my church is. I mean, generally speaking, but I don't think he was like
Yeah.
physically close to where my church is. He was like just in the same city or little hamlet that my church is in. Yeah.
Within the vicinity, not like
Right,
across
right,
the
right.
street or something, but yeah. But I just found it funny. It was something I thought it was from what we talked about last week with the executive order, and then all of a sudden, and it's funny because if he's in like North Hills, like man, he traveled from was pretty quick,
Yeah.
to come down here.
And it's really interesting that he did this all. He timed this perfectly because um, he didn't have to have a face to face with the mayor, Karen Bass, because she was in France. Doing the whole Olympic flag changing ceremony or whatever the fuck. And so, yeah, so it's not.
Why is she over there? There's no
Well,
reason.
again, I think I explained it to you before, but I mean, yeah, there's no reason why she'd be there, but except for the Olympic stuff, and and in 2028, LA is going to be hosting, and so they do like this.
Okay, you know what? Then you know what that's more sense. Okay, I forgot about that.
So she
So
was, but yeah, it's conveniently.
all right,
Again, it was conveniently
I'll give her a
timed
pass on this one.
for her to be out of the state, so that what's it?
Oh, of course.
At convenient time, so that she'd be out of state, so she wouldn't have to, or Gavin Newsom wouldn't have to come and like have a confrontation with her and be like, yeah, you're screwing up the state, or you're screwing up the city. Um,
Well,
yeah,
that was coordinated too. By the way, I'm sure that they were talking. It's like, okay, well, you'll be out of the country. It's okay, and I'll come down to LA, and this podium moment, chastise California, and then I'll be on my merry way. That dude probably did not pick up anything. He did. I'm sure he just walked around.
yeah, I'm sure that's correct.
I have a feeling that the homeless that were living there, I'm sure within a couple of
Yeah,
days
of
after
course.
that, they're right
It's a
there.
shell game.
Here's some clean tools for you to play with. Lest we forget, like that was the in San Francisco. They were handing out the needles to make sure that they're staying healthy
Right.
during their drug usage. Yeah, let's, instead of helping these people, let's keep them in subjugation so that they never rise and ever get out of their circumstances.
Yep, that's the plan. Keep them docile, keep them doped up, so they can never uprise.
Yeah. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up. And we'll we'll see what happens with that. I'm just I know he's up to I know our governor is up to something. I just don't know exactly what it is yet.
All right. If you have nothing else to add there, Rob, I guess we can move on to the.
No,
Okay.
I don't. I don't.
Yeah, so let's get on to next topic for discussion, and that's um, at least it seems like the Kamala campaign is courting the assistance of influencers, big and small.
Yeah. So I've been noticing on my news feed, there's been a lot of people who I'm not this is not my game. I don't know who these people are, but supposedly they're high level influencers from Instagram to Twitch to YouTube, all kind of like the big
Yeah.
streaming platforms. And a lot of them have been coming out saying that they've been offered lots of money to endorse to shill for the Harris Walz campaign. And they were handed like, here's what we'll pay you, and you just essentially not paying them. Like it does seem like a lot, but for the campaign, it's a lot of it's extremely free advertising. Uh, but because you're not normally when you on these platforms, when you're endorsing a product, like it has to be if it's a product. So let's say I'm Coke paid us, right? And we're talking kindly about Coke. We would have to let people know that this is a paid advertisement because Coca-Cola paid for it, right? Where when it comes to a political campaign and they're signing NDAs to say that they're not in any way associated with the Walz campaign. I'm sorry, the Harris Walz campaign. So they don't have to say that it's a paid advertisement. So getting all free, quote unquote, unendorsed. Just
Right, right.
we love
It makes it sound like,
Kamala
yeah,
Harris. We
this
want
is
her
a
to be president.
genuine
That's what they're trying
endorsement
to
as
pay
opposed to
for.
a paid shilling.
Yeah, exactly. It's corrupt in all the ways, and a lot of the people that are coming out and talking about this are like, no. And in fact, like I'm coming out and saying like, yeah, we were approached by these people, and we told them that they got, and some it's women and like white women, black guys, like it runs the spectrum. Uh, I'm I don't know of like how many that they reached out to, but I've at least seen 4 or 5 of kind of like the some bigger accounts that are like, "Fuck no, we're not going to do that." Or and it's like I don't want to be associated way with that bitch. So it's like, no, I'm not going to vote for her.
Yeah.
I'm not going to help her out. I don't care what the money is, and it was good.
Yeah, I remember when what's his
It's
face?
so I
When
mean,
God, who's that fucker? Adam Schiff. When Adam Schiff was running for re-election, I remember some
God.
of the accounts that I follow. Like people that I know that live in California. They were shilling for him. And I'm just like, and these are and a lot of them are like,
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
and a lot
I
of
do remember that.
them, they're not political content creators. They're foodies. They're travel. They're fashion. Um, they're just not, anywhere in the realm of politics whatsoever. But then all of a sudden they come out with like,
You know what
hmm?
this kid reminds me of? How much I love Adam
Right,
Schiff.
exactly. It's like, oh, like yeah, this quinoa, yeah, it's quinoa. It's just like Adam Schiff. It's good for you. It's a superfood. I was like, what? Yeah, it's just like, and it's and you know that and you know it's I but I do think I remember seeing like a few of them saying that this is a paid advertisement or endorsement. Um, but yeah, it's just so funny because it's because like they hit up like not. I mean, I guess that's the thing. You hit up like non-political people to hit not to gain access to non-political people. But it's just there was a insincerity about it because like these people they do mukbangs and they do comedy skits, but then all of a sudden they're shilling for political candidates, and it's just like what the fuck.
Did you speaking of which, I, like one of the cringiest fucking things I've ever seen. Did you see that some of the I couldn't watch it all because it was just I couldn't do it. I did see some clips from the all the comedians that were shilling for Harris. Did you watch any of that? So you had like Ben Stiller and um the guy who played Ron Swanson, Hoffman, who had the most god awful parody song. It was Real American, the song that like Hulk Hogan would come out to. He did a parody of that, saying how like he's a Kamala man,
No, and
not a
this
real
is Nick
American. He's a
Offerman.
Kamala man. Yeah, dude, it's fucking god. I couldn't even finish listening to it. It was so awful. Oh, these guys are just. Rose O'Donnell. Oh, it was just it's like how much they love Kamala Harris and how everyone should vote for Kamala Harris, and it was the most cringe-worthy. I mean, it was awful. It was just
I'm sure it
unwatchable.
was. Just like with what's his face, Stephen Colbert, and like during the height of the Rona, and he had like the fucking dance,
Vaccine.
the fucking dancers dressed up as hypodermic needles.
Yeah, he was doing a
Yeah,
parody off
tequila.
of
Yeah,
the tequila. It's like his vaccine. Fucking, I hate that fucker. He's so god awful. Him and like John Oliver and Samantha Bee, who I think
yeah,
no longer a thing, thank God. Uh, at least I haven't seen her in the last like
yeah. It's
2 or 3 years.
it's
I mean, she only showed up to work like once every quarter, so it's
yeah, it reminded me of a post that what is it? Uh, Owen Benjamin put up, and he had all the late night comics. It's funny because they're all wearing the same suit, and then in the caption it wrote, you know, yes,
they're all saying the same
all the
thing.
same, saying the same things, endorsing the same candidate, opposition against, basically opposed to the opposition, and then late night comedy, ladies and gentlemen, and it's like yeah, like it's like how is this funny? If like you are all espousing the same beliefs, you're espousing sometimes even the same joke. There's like I remember I don't know if it's still out there, but there's a supercut of them all doing the same jokes, like about Trump and about like the wall. It's like, but it was like all
Yeah,
the same joke, And it's like, how is this like? How are you the vanguard? How are
It's the
you
same thing
the
on the
cutting
news.
edge of culture when all you're doing is puppeting the party line. You're towing the party line. And so, you know,
Yeah, there's it's same thing with the news cycle. The newscasters say they look the same. Well, I mean, some of them look the same. They're saying the same damn thing, and it's like it's within like this. It's either the same day or like the same week where everyone's just parroting the same message. It's free advertisement for the Democratic candidates or whatever the super du jour news topic of the day is. It's really, what are we doing? I understand, like, if we're talking about an important news topic, sure, but you don't have any original thing outside of like because it's not really news because they're not just telling what the facts are or what is known at the time. What they're doing is they are essentially professional commentators giving their thoughts and opinions on the news. They're not actually doing any sort of reporting or journalism. So there's no actual. It's professional speculation. That's what it
sure.
is. That's what the news has become, and that's what happens when you have a 24-hour news cycle. You're not learning anything new. You're just having these professional jerk offs
Right.
pretending that they know stuff and pretending to
I
be smarter and
remember.
better than
Yeah.
you. And that's why they all say the
Yeah.
same
It's
shit.
that thing. Like I remember Crowder. Back in the day, he watched 24 hours of CNN, and one of the tricks that they do is that they put breaking.
Oh,
They,
God, I watched that stream too. I watched it. He's like, he, yeah. I think that broke him a little bit. He's like, I'll never
Yeah,
do that
but
again.
yeah, the one of the tricks that they do is they put up the splash screen of like breaking as if this is like news, like actual or new news, but all they're doing is just repeating the same thing over and over again. So people think like they're getting more information or new
Yeah,
information, but they're just getting the same, and then it's like there's the whole idea of a 24-hour news cycle is just ridiculous. It's not natural. Because people aren't up for 24 hours, and people aren't
yeah.
plugged
There's no such.
into watching the news for 24 hours straight. So they can get it. So it kind of helps them because they could do those kind of tactics where they put like breaking and and then say and repeat the same news over a 24-hour period because not everyone is watching them all the time. But in the same breath, they're not
Yeah,
adding anything. They're just regurgitating the same story over a 24-hour period. People may think that things go on all the time, but they really don't. It's just like you might have like a big news thing uh, at the top of the hour, and then it's and then you kind of move on. It's like it happens, and then like more information is not going to be readily available. It's like so you're not going to get updated on the half hour. You're just going to be regurgitating that. It's like, oh yeah, there was a bombing in Syria, and then 30 minutes later it's like breaking. There's a bombing in Syria, and then and then it keeps going on.
yeah. It's like I said, it's professional speculation, and you have even back, back when there was at least an era of legitimacy in the news cycle. Like, yeah, you would have, I think, evening. You'd have evening news, but you'd have that like maybe like once a day, and like the newspaper they used to run a morning and an evening edition.
Right. Well, that makes sense.
When we did Sweet Smell of Success. Yeah, like Sweet Smell of Success kind of dealt with that, and our Burt Lancaster was this you know newspaper magnate essentially who was essentially he was the one who made the news, which is kind of true because there's a lot of even the people who run these news networks, they're the ones making the news, or at least how we view the news.
Right. I mean, because what is it? Look, like
And
take the George Floyd incident that happened. That shouldn't have been
mhm.
national news. It should have been a regional thing at best. Yeah, local
Local
news,
news,
yes, but not
absolutely.
national news, right? Because that happened in that. If it was like
Yeah,
if there was a if it was a what is it? If police brutality were happening, you know, commensurately throughout the nation, then yes, then that would be a news topic to be discussed and to be investigated. But the story of George Floyd, that should have been local news and never left the greater Minneapolis area, because it only involved
yeah,
Minneapolis police, and it involved a Minneapolis man, and it involved the Minneapolis neighborhood. That was it. I didn't need to
yeah.
know.
It wasn't like the National Guard
Right,
was
yeah.
fucking
It's
with
like I
George
didn't need to
Floyd.
know about George Floyd. Neither, I mean, insofar as much as people in Minnesota or Minneapolis need to know about Rodney King.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean
that's
that's
L.A.
definitely
news.
LA
That
news.
affects L.A.
But that
people. That
became
affected an L.A. man. Why does someone in Minnesota need to know about something that happened in California? If it's an isolated incident,
yeah.
if it doesn't affect national policy, or it doesn't affect the nation.
But yeah, this is the problem we have, and that's why you have like what we've been saying, the news, the late night comedians, the what would have been happening, and now I'm sure there's a lot of these influencers who
Sure.
did take money, and so you're gonna start. I don't know how big their reach is, but I guarantee that the message
Well, I
is gonna
mean
be the exact same thing. They're gonna sound just like the
that's the strategy. It doesn't matter like how big or influential you are. Like if you have an audience, that's enough. Because yeah, because they know that they're gonna hit
yeah.
the people that normally watch CNN, that normally watch MSNBC, that watch their local news or whatever.
I think that they're
They're
going
going
at
after the
yeah.
ones
Why
outside
I think
of
that they are
their main influence.
yeah, because CNN and MSNBC, the average age of the people watching that stuff, I think, is in like
Yeah,
their 70s.
yeah.
Same with like Fox News. They're old. So by targeting these influencers and streamers and stuff, their average audience is definitely much younger, probably younger than us. So it's a smart strategy, and but I think uh, you'll start to know like the ones that have been turned into these pod people, because they're going to start saying the same line the news is saying, that the that the late night comedians are saying, what have you. It's all going to be the
Hmm.
same type of thing. Yeah, I just found it really interesting that there was a lot of them coming out and saying like, fuck no, I'm not taking their goddamn money. I don't want anything to do with their campaign. It's some of them are like, I don't want anything to do with politics, and yeah, I
Hmm.
don't. That's not what I do. And some people are like, no, I'm never voting for a Democrat ever, and I'm not going to shield for a Democrat ever. It's like, okay, it's like, good for you.
Indeed.
Yeah, it sounded like one of the black guys. He's like, yeah, fuck Kamala Harris. She doesn't give a god. She's not black, and she doesn't give a goddamn about black people. Because he's like, didn't she like keep people in jail for longer than they needed to be, or like kept evidence away that would exonerate
Yeah.
black people on
She put
that
away
were being sentenced?
she put away a lot of black men for simple possession. And then when she was running for president or whatever the fuck, she was like laughing it up and saying like, yeah, I smoked marijuana in college, and I was listening to Snoop and Dre before they even you know were a thing.
For
Like,
a
yeah,
thing.
of course.
God, she's so fucking.
But yeah, I'm glad that Trump got her to do 2 more debates. Because yeah, because the average person they don't know who Kamala Harris is. They don't know what like her positions are, and like she never answers.
She hasn't come up with a she hasn't come up with a policy position at all.
Well, yeah, if you ever see interviews with her, like, and she's asked direct questions like, oh, what's your solution to this thing? All she does is word salad you. It's like, well,
that's
blah, 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 and
that's
like,
a great thing.
It's just like, yeah, like the American people are suffering and blah blah blah, and it's like, we can't have American people suffering, and living, paycheck to paycheck and da da da, and like, she'll go, yeah, again, go on this word salad, but never give you a solution. And so Trump
policies are great to have because because policies are important.
Yeah, but so Trump has to.
Thank you.
So Trump has to put her feet to the fire and make her stand on something. Make her take a position and be like, it's like, like this whole like not taxing tips things. Like, I hope he calls her out and says like, that was my idea. You took my idea. It's like, do you have original idea of your own that you want to share to the rest of the people?
Yeah, that's what I think. Like I said, he needs to come out like he did back when he demolished Joe Biden. He was very calm, cool, collected, and when she has her word salad, and when she's actually basically asked like, what's your policy on this, and she does a word salad, like, what is that means nothing. What is your actual policy? What is your plan? And then just let her hang herself or laugh or try to laugh her way out of it.
Oh no!
What he
has to for sure do is bring up like the atrocities of like dead children and like get her to like nervously laugh. That's super important because that is off-putting to everybody, regardless, left, right, doesn't matter. Like, you laugh at dead children, you're fucked.
Oh, dude, if he does that, that'd be great.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's not a new thing. Politicians are constantly trying to influence or find ways, or trying to find new ways to influence people. Yeah, paying actually influential people is a way to go. But
she has not had one serious unscripted interview. She has not had any sort of pushback in any interview, whereas both Trump and JD Vance have been in a lot of hostile interviews that were kind of like unannounced, and they've had press conferences.
They go into the lines then. Like, what is it? Like that thing that Trump did with like the black journalist. Whatever. And yeah, that was a hostile environment for him. He went into the lines then, and he came out on top. Even though they're trying to get him on, it's like, oh, like he said that Kamala Harris wasn't black. But it's if you're not an idiot, you understand what he's saying. He's saying that Kamala Harris presents herself one way to a certain group of people and a certain way to a different group of people. All right. So when it was convenient for her to play up her Indian heritage, she was Indian. And then when it's advantageous for her to be black, she started calling herself black. That's all that was.
Which is also something that Biden did
exactly. Too. It was just so crazy because he was still a white boy. Like, yeah, even though I'm a white boy, I went to an all-black college or all-black church. It's like, but didn't you say, but that you?
No, you didn't.
And then the very next day, like, he'll go meet with some Irish folk. He's like, oh yeah, I was always in mass and taking the Eucharist and blah blah blah. It's like, well, which is it, Joe? Like, did you grow up? Did you grow up in a black church, or did you grow up in the Catholic Church?
Or did you grow up with Italians or black people?
Right? Yeah,
what is it?
Yeah, with your hairy legs.
And like how his dad was telling. Yeah, or like how his dad's like, when he saw two men kissing. It's like that's what love called. That's what love is, right there, son. It's like
No,
no,
he
he
didn't.
never
Your
said
dad would have
fucking
kicked.
said
Your
that.
dad would have done some gay bashing. All right, and you probably would have. And you probably would have joined him. All right, let's be real. All right.
Gay people.
I know that. Oh, gay people. No, your dad would be like, "Oh, get them queers," and beat the shit out of them. All right, let's be real here.
I just I hate these people so much. But we'll see what like I said, the debate will be I think the key is Harris needs to be allowed to talk as much as possible because she's an idiot and the American people need to see that she is intensely unlikable, does not have a thought in her brain. And if he does that and it's just very targeted, knife strikes like he did with Biden, perfect. That's what the people need to see.
Yeah, you know what was really funny during that debate? When Trump said that Biden called them black super predators, and then Biden got like all like shocked and like oh how dare he? I was like oh wait that's me.
Yeah.
He forgot. It's like oh they call them super predators. Oh that's abhorrent. It's like oh wait that's me.
Yeah. God, that was great.
Hilarious.
Because he's like so out of it, like he forgot like who or what is going on. And yeah, that is horrible. But Joe, you said that.
Right? So yeah, Joe, I'm quoting you.
You also notice how like Biden is just not in the news at all. Like no one gives a fuck about him right now.
This is true. He's completely fallen out. It's like Biden who? Even though he's still technically the president.
Yeah. He's just damn dude. Like that's really oof.
Again, I think that that was all part of the deal. He gets this. They weren't gonna 25th him. He gets to remain president, and he'll be a good boy and only come out when told and say the things.
Yeah, that's because he's not running the country. There's no way. Which is probably what's gonna happen when Harris if she becomes president. It's gonna be the same thing. It's like you will do the song and dance that we tell you, and that's it.
Yeah, it's I forget. It's the Who. There's a line in the song where it's like, "Meet the new boss, same as the old boss."
Yep, that's right. He'll be Obama's fourth term.
Right? Yeah.
God, I know he wanted to be FDR so bad.
Yeah, I'm sure he did.
Just keep running.
But I don't. But I know people kept saying like, "Oh yeah, Michelle's gonna be the candidate, or she's gonna be the running mate." It's like, dude, Michelle Obama
I don't think so.
Be near politics anymore. As much as Barack still wants to like kind of be like the kingmaker and the puppeteer and the puppet master, like Michelle Obama, she saw all the worst sides of politics, and she I can tell she doesn't want nothing to do with it. I'm sure she heard things as they were passing by certain Dixiecrats talking about like oh look at that uppity boy over there.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I would have thought maybe like in 2020 maybe she would have thought about running, but yeah, no, I think she's
I don't think she ever had
out.
aspirations.
The problem is though, I think that if she did run though, that might have been their most dangerous candidate because people would have voted for her.
Yeah, I mean, despite what we know about her husband and like how shitty he was, like Michelle still, I mean, except for all the tranny stuff, Like she's still like mostly clean and like she still mostly has a good reputation on both sides. Um, I mean, except for
Yeah,
her school lunch initiative, where it's like she was basically serving kids like ass. People don't. Oh yeah,
yeah.
people don't remember this. But yeah,
D-
she led a campaign to improve, school lunches for kids, and it was awful.
School
Yeah, it
nutrition.
was
Yeah.
awful.
God,
Like prisoners,
I look at
prisoners were who got nutritional low for getting more nutrition than some of these school kids.
I look at schools around the world and stuff like that. Occasionally, I'll see stuff like, oh, this is what they kind of get served in like Japanese or Korean or
Or hell, even like
um
Brazil.
like in other schools like in Europe. Yeah, and it's that looks good.
Hmm.
And then I look at our like school lunches now. Like it wasn't great when we were going to
Right,
school, Andy,
right.
but
I mean, I
it's
have fond
way
memories.
better than it is today.
Yeah, I mean, I have. Don't get me
Yeah,
wrong. I have fond memories
it's
of chalupa and freaking what is it? Uh,
well, that's filet mignon compared to what they're eating
right, yeah,
today.
like the chalupa boat. I have fond memories of that.
Those are great.
What is it? The deep dish pizza that came wrapped up in the cellophane.
Yeah, dude, I remember that.
The bean and cheese
No, it's like, but they don't get that
burrito.
stuff anymore. Yeah, but God, our the food that we get in our schools compared to the rest of the world, it's like, what are we doing?
Right.
This is garbage.
Yeah, and I think
Yet the
yeah, because I mean
we have a federal,
my
we're spending $60 trillion or whatever, or $60 billion on our federal education stuff, and this is what we're getting. We're not feeding our kids properly.
I mean, in my elementary school, we didn't have a cafeteria per se. It was just like a room with like a giant warming oven. I mean, I know this because I worked
Yeah,
in my fourth grade or fifth grade year. I was tasked with helping in the cafeteria. I just basically handed out the milk.
yeah,
But yeah, it was a small room with like a giant warming oven, and they brought the food. They brought in the lunch every day, and then the cafeteria staff would just warm up the food and distribute it to the kids. Um, but yeah, it seems like a real waste because like in my junior high and high school, they had like a legit cafeteria, but like all the food came in like prepackaged stuff, and um, like there weren't any like huge like cauldrons full of like stews or whatever. And that's a real missed opportunity. I think it'd be a good way to teach kids about nutrition about where their food comes from. And even like a way to
yeah,
integrate some kind of learning, like have the kids like work in the cafeteria and like prepare food, and maybe give them like start giving them like job training like that way. I mean, nowadays people want people who work in the food industry to be able to live off it. But back in the day, kids used to be the one. Teenagers used to be the ones working at McDonald's. Not Consuela
yeah.
with like
No,
6, 7 kids.
and demanding $30 an
Right.
hour, and then being replaced by a
Right. Yeah.
machine.
Yeah. Or an iPad. Um, but yeah, it's wild times right now. Wild times.
Yeah,
Anything else you want to
but yeah.
add to that?
No, that was kind of all I wanted to kind of discuss on that, and I knew we expanded upon that quite a bit too, so that was good. I figured we would.
Indeed. All right. That was for topics for discussion for tonight. Um, Now we'll be going into our movie review tonight. Remember, tonight's movie is The Watcher, starring Keanu Reeves, of course, fitting our Keanu Reeves month, as well as James Spader, Ernie Hudson from 2000. I'll hit everyone with a synopsis and we'll get going. The Watcher is an exciting psychological thriller that takes a unique look into the minds of both the serial killer and the man who must reluctantly pursue him in an almost Hitchcockian way. The film quickly introduces us to the killer, David Allen Griffin, played by Keanu Reeves, who for many years preyed on lonely young women in the Los Angeles area. The story is set up to create a taut cat and mouse game between Griffin and FBI agent Joel Campbell.
Yeah. So before we start talking about the film, I want to I because the reason we chose this one, it's a lesser known Keanu Reeves film. It's out of type for him because normally he plays kind of a
Yeah, he
heroic
plays the hero.
type of character. So yeah, it's kind of like when in Once Upon a Time in the West they had Henry Fonda play the villain. There's been a few, or Nightmare Alley, the original one with Tyrone Power, who had done all these heroic roles, ends up being the villain of the film. Or like Robin Williams, like when he did
Insomnia.
Insomnia
One hour
and
photo.
1 Hour Photo, that was kind of out of character. Yeah, those are like these kind of great out of character type films, and knowing the story now behind how Keanu Reeves was even in this film to begin with, he gave a much better performance than he probably should have. Because I would have told all these people to go fuck themselves. So the director, Joe Sharbanek, who is he got his start in music videos, and him and Reeves had become friends because he had been the director of some of the music videos of Keanu Reeves' band Dogstar back in the early '90s. And when he was starting to, I don't know if this was Sharbanek's film debut, but he was wanting to do something with Keanu Reeves where it was, kind of making him the villain of the film. And he wrote the script. Sharbanek wrote the script, and Reeves like, I'm not really interested in doing that, man. It's like, sorry, bud. Like, it doesn't feel right for me. He went on to forge Keanu Reeves' signature on the contract, and this is where Keanu Reeves, like, he's a guy that obviously he's very celebrated as being a good person. Instead of getting into this like long legal battle, it's like, okay, I guess like I'm just gonna do the film, and just kind of I'm not gonna fight it, man. It's like, fine, you want me in your film, I'll be in your film. I know I didn't sign this, but I'll do it anyways. But here's the thing that really is, and this guy was supposedly his friend. He fucked him over. So James Spader and Marissa Tomei were paid $1 million each for their roles. Okay, great, because they're big stars at the time. Marissa Tomei obviously had won an Academy Award by this point, but Reeves, although being one of the main characters and a big star at the time, was paid union scale, which is like minimum salary for his role. And I was like, dude, what? So you force his signature and you're going to pay him scale? You're a fucking asshole, dude. And Universal, who was the distributor of the film, they begged him, like, okay, listen, we'll don't disclose like what's happened here. Yes, your signature was forged. We'll make it right. So in the end, Reeves was ended up to keep him from talking about what was done to him, so that the film would people wouldn't boycott the film. He agreed with Universal to not disclose what happened for a period of a year, and they paid him. I think they gave him some sort of percentage of the film, and I think he ended up making a little over $2 million. So yes, it was made right, but his friend, or supposed friend, fucked him big
Right.
time. You're gonna forge his signature to get him on the picture and then pay him scale? You're a dick. Fuck that guy. And good thing, because I looked at his one, I think his Wikipedia page is like non-existent because of the people like are gonna blast him. But I was looking at his IMDb page, and he did not have a very I think this is like his one claim to fame. Like his other stuff looks like it's maybe like film shorts or
Right.
whatever. Nothing. So this may have been
It's one
his
and
like
done.
debut and one and done. And it's funny because 47 Ronin was another film that Reeves got involved with another kind of guy that he was friends with, the director of that, who also was really shady and kind of Reeves kind of believed in the guy, and there was supposed to be like this other after doing like a couple of film shorts, the guy was given like a near $200 million film, which obviously was a huge bomb, as we've discussed in the past, and we did it on Cinemigos as well. We talked
Right.
about it, and that guy ended up. He had Netflix gave him a big contract that he never produced anything, and Keanu Reeves was supposed to be the star of that show that Netflix was paying for, and the guy went off and pretty much. I don't know how he's not in jail. He pretty much spent all the money on things not involved with the show, and obviously it never came to light. And Keanu Reeves left the project and all that, and obviously he's not working anymore. But still, how that guy's not in jail, how this person's not in jail, is a shocker to me, because this is obviously
Right.
fraud. But maybe Keanu Reeves is a guy. He's like, you know what, it happened. I'm not gonna make a big deal out of it. Don't want to. I don't want to fight people over this. I think he's a guy who wants to live in peace, and good on him. And he gave a better performance than he should have given these
Right.
people, honestly. And maybe he did that out of respect to James Spader and Marissa Tomei and Ernie Hudson
Yeah.
and some of the other actors
Other
involved,
crew.
because obviously these films
Yeah.
are team efforts. So I think he did it out of respect to his fellow actors. But I honestly, I would have been like, "Fuck you! I'm gonna be as fucking awful as I can possibly be." But maybe because he's involved, he's like, well, if I also give a bad performance, it might reflect badly on my career as well. And so maybe he didn't want to do that. And because this is a year after The Matrix, so there was that going on. This is the same year that we did Replacements, which was the same year too. So maybe he didn't want it to affect other movies that he's involved in. So, but still, just Keanu Reeves, man, he's a class act. And this fucking director, dude, what an asshole.
It's so funny that
I just read that. I was
it's so
so
funny that you mentioned that he's really only done like music video. It kind of shows some of the
dude,
some
yeah,
of the
I was gonna say
editing
that. Like
choices
this
and
film, like when you
the way
know,
like certain scenes were filmed. Yeah,
very
it's
2000s music
it's
videos.
very music video like.
That was kind of the trend at this time too. Like the early to mid 2000s. Because like Man on Fire feels a little bit like, although that's at a much better scale with Tony Scott, but it does have a lot of those similar type of quick cuts, and everything's kind of moving in weird slow motion and fast motion and quick
You have
cuts.
that weird grainy
odd
TV
color
overlay.
choices. You know what movie I was thinking of was that Denzel Washington movie where he's fighting this not the devil, but like it's a demon who inhabits people and makes them into so the serial killer that he's chasing is actually this demon that inhabits different people. Yeah. And so it's kind of like when Keanu Reeves is going when we see his point of view, it's kind of that same type of feel. It's what the I know Gregory Hope Lee directs that film. I'm forgetting the name of it, but it's that kind of reminds me of like what when I was watching this. But yeah, this film there is a film there's a good story here in this movie. I like the cat and mouse of James Spader, who we're kind of dropped in at kind of the aftermath of what you would think would be you think this would be like a part 2 of the film, right? Because there's this whole other story of him as a competent FBI agent who is chasing after our serial killer, and killer essentially triumphs over him, and he becomes traumatized over what happens, and because of his mistakes, he got a woman who he was romantically involved with killed, and obviously he has horrible migraines, develops like really bad like PTSD. He can't sleep. He gets all sorts of problems, and like you see like these like this migraine medication he injects into his, I guess his liver or like something like into his bloodstream, and like he obviously does that a lot because you see like the bruising or from the
injection sites.
the needle injections. Dude, and the other thing, that apartment must smell like fucking shit, dude. There was trash everywhere, like that. So he clearly has kind of given up on life, and although he has a therapist who is played by Marissa Tomei, who is trying to help him recover from all of that, but unbeknownst to James Spader's character, this serial killer has followed him to the new town because he moved to Chicago from LA, and is continuing to this is like the Batman and the Joker. He didn't feel like without this guy chasing him, it didn't feel like fun anymore. So now he's trying to bring him back into the game, and that's what this movie is. So like I said, I think there's a great movie here. It's just, and you have great actors. James Spader is amazing in this. I think he does a good job in his role. Marissa Tomei is pretty good. How did you feel as because we're doing Keanu Reeves month? How did you feel about him in the role of serial killer? Did it work for you at all? Did he do how do you feel about it?
Completely mismatched. His cast. It
doesn't work, right?
I mean, set aside his his reputation for being a a stand-up kind of guy. Just like his accent, his inflection, it just doesn't work. I can't take him seriously. He sounds too much like a surfer dude. So when he's like trying to be menacing, when he tries to be menacing and like and like taunting of James Spader's character, it's just like I'm thinking of like Bill and Ted. It's like, no way, bro. Oh my god, like party on.
When he's dancing to like Rob Zombie at the beginning of the movie, like that was, which is also what it's that where the opening like the credits, like where we see him dancing to Rob Zombie. That's exactly. It's, and don't get me wrong, like I know his friend like or his quote unquote friend wanted Keanu Reeves in there, but damn dude, you got these other great actors, and like honestly, I would have rather seen it reversed.
Yes.
Have Keanu Reeves play the cop and Spader as the crazy serial killer. That would have been a much better, like. I mean, I like a guy that you can throw in as against type, but Keanu Reeves that's not him. He no disrespect to Keanu Reeves, because I love the guy. I think even his not so great movies, I still kind of have a liking towards. but this is he's no Henry Fonda, dude. Like he's not a guy that is like, oh, but he actually can play a villain. What the hell is going on here? Or like a Tyrone Power. He's not a Tyrone Power either. Who does have that gear in him. He's just he's a guy he's gonna play the hero.
Or
And he's
on the outside,
there's a lot of
anti-hero, because John Wick is a type of anti-hero.
Yeah, okay, that's true.
Because John Wick is this murderous hitman.
Like that's.
But but we're rooting for him. But he's not a hero in like the traditional sense. He's not. He's a cold-blooded killer.
That's as close as we're gonna get.
John Wick is a cold-blooded.
Yeah, that's as close as we're gonna
get to him playing a villain.
Yeah, I mean he's more. I would say he's like a Clint Eastwood type in John Wick, because also his dialogue is very minimal too. Which Clint Eastwood fought for in the Dollars trilogy. He fought for less dialogue for his character because he felt it played up the character better. And I think that's what Keanu was doing too. Not because Keanu can act, because he can, but it makes his character more mysterious and menacing in John Wick when he doesn't talk a lot. But yeah, it did not work for me at all, having him as a serial killer.
Yeah, but
and I know he tried.
And fun little tidbit. Was it Spader would later go on to being the serial psychopath killer in the television series The Blacklist.
Yeah, The Blacklist. He is awesome in that show. I fucking hate the main character, the woman that is in that show. She is all over the place. All the other people in the show are great. She's awful. I couldn't finish the show because I couldn't stand her character. And that's a show that has so many good things in it. It has endless possibilities, and you ruined it with a garbage main character.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I never got into it, so I can't really opine. But I know the basic premise.
Well, I'm saving you, Andy.
But I mean, it's gone. Yeah. It's gone on. For
it's a great show. There's a lot of great things about it. Yeah, I got to season 5, and there's so many fucking flip flops that are the main woman. That's I couldn't take it anymore. I was like, I got so fucking frustrated with that character. I was like, I can't do this anymore. As good as James Spader is, like, all I wanted was James Spader. I couldn't. Everyone else is great. Could not stand her at all. She was awful.
I see.
But yeah, I thought Keanu he does not work as a bad guy, as a serial killer in this at all. Spader was great. I thought I believed his trauma, but you can see his competence too. Like when he realizes he doesn't want to get back in the game, but he knows he has to. Otherwise, a lot of people are gonna die, and so he kind of gathers it together so that he can stop this guy. I like that. But Marisa Tomei, like she's a good character. She, it's a little tropey with the damsel in distress because that's kind of what she ends up becoming. But I think she's a good therapist. I would have liked to have seen maybe her play like some other different type of role. Maybe she's I don't know what I would have done on that. Like, do you think that there's like a romantic interest between Spader and her? Maybe let's say like the film, now that the film is ending and Spader saved her life. Do you think that maybe they have like some sort of relationship after that?
No, but I think.
Do you think that Spader?
I think that it was.
Or they keep it professional.
It was tried and. I mean, because of the competency of the director, I think it was attempted to telegraph that there was like some sort of budding romantic relationship between the two, but I don't think it was handled very well.
Yeah. Bernie Hudson was way
Oh yeah,
underutilized in this film
yeah.
too.
Like I mean, I didn't need him to be like the angry chief going in. It's like you know, you know. It's like McVeigh, you shot up an entire school bus full of children. I didn't need him to do that, but
No, no, yeah.
I didn't need him to be
I
the
would have liked
angry
to see
chief.
him
I
have a
didn't need
more.
him to be the angry chief, but somewhat invested in the investigation would have been nice.
I would have liked to see him more involved, like in like The Crow, like when he's in because he's the officer in The
Well, I mean,
Crow.
he plays a beat cop
I would
though.
have liked to see.
In this one, he plays like I think like the field director of like.
Well, he's an yeah, but no, but I'm saying it's like, but he's more involved in The Crow.
But yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
that's
He's
what
more
I'm. But that's
involved
what
in the
I'm
investigation.
saying. This. Like, yeah, because he's the chief, of the FBI in that office. Like, he can't be like boots on the ground with him. But I think if he like, if he would show
I
up,
would
if he would
say,
show
like,
up
not
every once in a while to a crime scene or something, then it shows that he was like invested in the investigation.
what I would have rather had is switch him with the detective
Oh yeah,
that Spader works with. Yes, switch have Hudson with Spader and have the other guy as the FBI director. Although the guy who plays the detective, he's great. He's actually really good in this.
Yeah,
I liked
he's
him.
a familiar face. Yeah, he's a good character actor.
He's a character actor that's in a bunch of stuff.
What is it? Armageddon. He was in Apollo 13. He was in pretty much. Wait, he was in like pretty much within like the early 2000s. Like if you name a movie, he was in
like
it.
the late 90s, 2000s.
Name a movie, and he was.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Right, like I said, I think the story, or at least the bones of the story, are really good. But I think some of the writing, because the director also wrote this, and the writing is not great. I think, and even like I said, even Spader and Keanu and Tomei can't even save it.
The only line that I think enjoyed from Keanu Reeves' character was when they have their face to face at his lover's gravesite, and he says to him, it's like don't tell me you moved to Chicago just to be near to her. I think that was the only good line that he had in that movie.
Yeah, it's badly written. It's somewhat competently directed, but you can tell that this is a music video director because as we talked about, there's so many quick cuts and weird different styles of camera angles and camera tricks that are done. A lot of the like the photo negative stuff. There's the gritty serial killer eyes for Keanu. It's just it doesn't have a style at all. That's the problem.
Right. I think if given this story to a more competent and seasoned director, I think you could have had a really good movie. But things being as they are, I think we just got a okay movie.
Yeah. I think honestly, this is a movie that I feel should get remade. Just because, like I said, the bones of the story are great. I'm trying to think of like who would be great in this today. You know what would be funny? Okay, here's what I'm thinking. If you're gonna remake this today, you get Keanu back. You have him as the detective though, and you you could probably get a lot of the same guys back. Let's say, okay, Keanu comes back, but he's not the serial killer. He comes back as the detective or the former FBI guy. You get Ernie Hudson back. He's the field director because obviously he's not going to be running around. We'll have that. You can get Tomei back as the therapist or something else to like another character that's also important to the story because she still looks smoking. So she's
Make her.
you get
I
obviously
know.
you get better
Make
writers.
her a profiler within the FBI.
Yeah, there we go. So she's a profiler, and maybe she has like a little bit of like a romantic thing with Keanu's character. Now, who would be the serial killer though? Who do you think would be good for the serial killer?
Are we gonna? Do you think we should go young guy or middle-aged guy?
Well, you could go. I don't know. I'm trying to think. How old is James Spader now? Is he in his
Probably.
60s? No, he'd be a little too old. I don't think it's believable.
Unless he's like unless you again change the dynamics a little bit and make him like a serial killer that's been active since like the 80s.
Well, then you bring back James Spader as the serial killer. You switch up. You keep the same characters, but you get better writing and better direction.
So make it and
you don't forge fucking Keanu's signature.
Right, and then so you make it so like they're that they've been like doing this whole cat and mouse thing for decades, but it's that one time, like let's say because now we're in the 2000s. Let's make it that it's what is it, like in the 90s. It was like that same similar thing, like he almost got away with it and he killed his lover. And and then he got PTSD and trauma and all that stuff still. But
I think Keanu could do that. I think Keanu could pull that off.
Let's say that he's a little bit more. Let's say that the serial killer is a little bit more tempered, right? So he doesn't need to kill someone every week.
Right.
And he's more selective on who he kills. So it isn't just like any like lonely or single woman he sees, but he really takes his time to select his targets. So it's far and in between when he kills, so that way he stays off the radar of law enforcement.
Yeah, I think like I said, yeah, we keep the same actors. Obviously, they're a little older now, and you flip some of the roles around, change up some of the characters of what their role is. You get a competent writer and a competent director, and I think you have kind of a similar story that's told and directed in a better way with these great actors, and I think it redeems this movie. I'm gonna talk to Keanu's people, see if he'd be interested.
Keanu, just hear me out. Hear me out.
To be honest, I would.
Like The Watcher, but wait, hear me out.
So I've been thinking about, because there's a few movie ideas that I have, and you know how much I hate remakes, but because we remake films that have no business they don't need a remake. It's films like this that have good bones that had for whatever reason or just told. There's a lot of problems behind the scenes, and it's badly written, or it has like bad dialogue, badly written, whatever the problems may be, and it doesn't come out right despite having good acting. So these are the types of films that deserve a remake because there is a good story here. you know, that I would love to maybe like do a rework of, and maybe fish around to see like, hey, would some of these actors be interested?
Hmm. Okay.
But to be honest, I don't hate this film at all. I think that, as I've been saying, it has good bones. It's just, honestly, I think right off the bat, when your director and writer is pulling off some really shady shit, where Universal realizes like, yeah, you got fucked, dude. So we're gonna make it. We just please, because now they were financially invested in it, and they didn't want to lose their ass if Keanu started like bad mouthing stuff. And he was a sport. He played along. It's like, okay, and it's like, and they said we will make it right. And the film was somewhat financially successful despite being panned. Um, it did make a profit, a minimal profit, but it made a profit because there was, and Keanu was not involved in any of the marketing at all. They kind of kept his name out of stuff, but yeah, they compensated him big time because he ended up being the highest paid person on the movie. But man, it's like when you start your movie off that way, and like this guy's like start in his career, and you're gonna pull off some shady shit like that, you can go fuck yourself, man. And I'm glad his career didn't become anything, because that's just not cool. And this was supposedly his friend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Keanu's known for like helping out his friends. Like, what is it? Keanu backed one of his friends. I don't know if you remember, but there was this martial arts movie, The Man from Tai Chi, that
Yeah.
Keanu, he didn't star in, but he played a character in the thing, and he got his friend like the money to make it. Actually, the friend in question was one of the stunt fighters in Matrix Reloaded.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and so he did a solid for him, and like so I'll be a part of the thing so you can get the funding. And so I mean I don't think it was particularly well received, but but again it just goes to show the character of Keanu Reeves that you're his friend and he believes in your vision, your idea, then he's willing to help you out no matter whatever it may be.
But Keanu, he's the type of guy. He gave up a significant portion of his salary to make sure that the some people on the Matrix got paid, and that's the guy who also he brought on to, I think it was one of his men from the Matrix, who is the director of the John Wick franchise. So it's just he's a guy that, is he the greatest actor of all time? No. He's kind of he's not a jack of all trades. He's a Swiss Army knife. He's a specialized tool of an actor. Well, and when you put him in the right roles, he's going to do a great job for you. I mean, he does have comedic chops with. He hasn't done a lot of comedy though recently. He's Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure was pretty much his only. I mean, he has comedic moments, sure, but he hasn't done a straight up comedy in a while.
Right.
The
Well, he was
He does
in the
action
only other
well.
recent
He's
the only recent comedy that I can think or that I can think of to categorize it as a comedy. It's really more of a rom com, but You'll Always Be My Maybe, where he does like kind of like a cameo where he plays like a like a slightly more asshole version of himself, but it's like it has comedic moments.
I've never Yeah, okay, I've never seen it, but
Yeah.
he's become more of an action star, and he does that
Mhm.
great.
Yeah, and there's a little bit in
Then
the late '90s,
he
early
I know
2000s where
that
he was
there
doing like the romantic comedies.
I know he's done like some dramatic roles too, not necessarily like rom-coms, but he's done some. I know a lot of people um uh, talk about My Own Private Idaho as being like a really good film of his, which I've never seen, but I've a lot of people talk pretty highly of it. Yeah, I just I think this is a film that is prime for a remake.
Anything else to add?
Well, actually, who would be if you, yeah, actually, I was thinking like if you couldn't get James Spader as a serial killer, who would be great? Paul Dano.
Ooh, yeah.
The guy who played Riddler. Yeah,
he gets typecast.
Eli Sunday from There Will Be Blood.
Yeah, and he was that kid in.
But he's so good in those roles, man.
What was that one with Hugh Jackman?
Um,
Yes, Hugh Jackman, Terrence Howard.
The Last Showman.
No. It's like
Prisoners.
Prisoners. There
Prisoners.
you go. Prisoners. Yeah, that's Paul Dano.
Yeah, dude, that movie. Yeah, that was Paul Dano. He's Paul and Eli Sunday in There Will Be Blood. I think he was in
He was in 12 Years a Slave.
That was that Oh yeah, that's right, yeah. He's a good actor, man.
All right. If there's nothing else,
that's all I got to say about the Watcher. That's all I got to say about the Watcher.
All right. If there's nothing else, let's give our ratings and I'll wrap it up.
I'm gonna get. This is actually hard to rate because I've been kind of bouncing around like a couple of. I'm gonna go with this is a 1.5 for me. It's no disrespect. I like this film. It has good bones. I like the actors in it. I don't like this director. I think he sucks, and he should stick to music videos, and he should not fuck over his friends. But other than that, besides that, like he's also the writer, and the writing is just not good at all. And no amount of good acting can save you from bad writing, unless unless you were allowing the actors who, if you're allowing them to change dialogue as they are doing the movie. Yeah, the writing is just bad. Keanu does not work as the serial killer. I know it's a great idea to think like, oh, I think he play type. He could play the villain in a film. He could play the psychopath. But maybe with better writing, sure, it could happen. But not with this. This is not doesn't work. But yeah, so I'm gonna give it 1.5. I think it's something, if you're curious, if you love Keanu Reeves and you're curious to see him play a different style of character, sure, go ahead and watch The Watcher. It's available for rent on Amazon. I spent $4 to watch it. Watch it today. I've seen it twice now. Because I was so curious when you told me about how, oh yeah, there's this like Keanu Reeves movie like where he had his signature forged, and like he just did the movie anyways because he didn't want the legal, or he just did the film as like he didn't want the trouble. And digging deep now with this, now that we're officially reviewing it, I looked into it. It's like, dude, that's much more sinister than just someone kind of faked his signature. There's a lot more to that. So yeah, 1.5.
All right. All right. I was gonna come a little bit higher than you, but I think you're right. So yeah, 'cause I was gonna come at 2, but that might be a little generous. So yeah, I'll come with you. I'll come down to you, and it's a 1.5 for me, dog.
I might introduce this on Cinemigos as well, like down the line, because I'm curious of what those guys will think of this film. And
I don't know. Their opinion of Pool Hall
I mean,
Junkies is a little less to be desired.
well, I mean, though that is not our lowest rated film. Well, because I came in at 5 star on that film because it is
Hmm.
amazing. It's so good. But no, our lowest rated film is Ricochet. Have you seen Ricochet
No, but I think you've talked about it before.
with Denzel? And
Oh no.
oh, dude,
Oh, and
that
the
film is
movie that you're thinking of, the
yeah.
Denzel movie you're thinking about was called Fallen.
Oh yeah, Fallen. Thank you. Yeah, that's. I think they were trying to take some, or that our director of this film was trying to take some cues off of Fallen, because which is a much better directed film. That's actually a really good film, Fallen. I like
Mm.
that a lot. It kind of reminds me of that would have been that could have fallen in our Devil in the Details month actually too, because it kind of reminds me a little bit of the what the hell was the name of that film that the newer film that we watched? What the hell was that you introduced me to? With the guy with that was essentially
Oh, Nefarious,
um
Nefarious.
yeah, Nefarious. Thank you. Yeah, it kind of has a little bit of Nefarious vibes uh to it. Although that obviously Fallen came out before
Mm.
Nefarious. But yeah, Fallen is great. Fallen's a good movie. Ricochet, not so much. Ricochet is not a great film, but it's interesting. John Lithgow, Denzel Washington. I'm trying to think if there was any other big names. Those are like the big names of that
Mhm.
film. But yeah,
Okay.
that's
There you have it.
that's the
That's our
movie.
movie. That's our review for The Watcher from 2000, starring Keanu Reeves, James Spader, Marissa Tomei, Ernie Hudson. Both Robert and I give it a 1.5. If you're a completionist and you love Keanu Reeves, then go ahead and watch this movie. Otherwise, don't think we could give it a full-throated recommendation on this movie. But as Robert said, there's the bones of a good movie are there. That's not what we got. So
Yeah.
yeah, so viewer discretion is advised.
Yeah. Next week, we're gonna go with one of your Keanu picks, A Walk in the Clouds.
Yep.
Actually, well, Andy, your movie recommend, or do you want to finish the month with A Walk in the
No, no. I
Clouds?
mean, whatever. Just What were you gonna say?
Oh no, what I was gonna say is I'm excited to talk about it because all of your movie recommendations have been amazing. Mine are hit or miss. Yours always seem to be like boom, like it's a nice,
Yeah. 5 run home run, right?
great. Like you said, I know we keep talking about Pool Hall Junkies, but this was a recommendation that you gave to me that just knocked me off my ass. I mean, there's been several movies that you've brought to the table to me that I would have never otherwise heard of or watched, and have been so good.
I know how to pick them, I guess.
You do. Well, I mean, you're also the one that introduced me to was it The Gunfighter with Gregory Peck? That was like, that's an old western, but we ended up watching that together. We were hanging at your house, and you're like, "Oh, we should watch the gun." We were looking on what we should watch. Oh, and he's like, "Oh yeah, The Gunfighter's on. Oh yeah, we should watch this. This is a really good one." And damn, that
I
was
don't
a
think
great
that was
western.
me.
Was that
Cause
not
I know,
you?
cause I can't remember what the gunfighter was about.
It's about him as the maybe. Oh, I know it was a Gregory Peck film that we watched together that you introduced me to. I thought it was The Gunfighter, where he's a former like uh infamous gunfighter that like is known to have yeah a lot of people are, oh, that's this guy, and they're all coming after him, and he just wants to start a new life and like kind of get away from gunfighting, and in the end he's killed by some young punk who thinks he's like tough shit, and he essentially, Gregory Peck gets his revenge on him by like as he's dying, he doesn't say like, oh, uh, don't tell everyone that he just shot me in the back, but now may allow him to be the famous gunfighter that everyone's going to target because he's the guy that took down this famous gunfighter.
I don't know if that was.
Maybe it was a different Gregory Peck film. I know we watched some.
Yeah.
So
No,
it
it
was.
was.
I know it
Yeah,
was
'cause
some
I'm
Gregory
not
Peck
familiar
western
with
that
the
we watched.
Gunfighter.
I can't. I thought it was the Gunfighter, but
Oh, you know what? What was it? I did recommend. The only like Western type movie that I like, at least old school Western type movie that I recommended to you was The River of No Return with your favorite guy, Robert Mitchum. And yeah,
Robert
Robert
Mitchum.
Mitchum and
Oh yeah,
Marilyn
Robert
Monroe.
Mitchum, Marilyn
Yeah,
Monroe. Yeah. Oh, dude,
yeah,
that
that was
film
a
was
great movie. That was a
amazing.
great movie.
But okay, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But anyways, you always have strong recommendations, so I'm always excited for it.
I know how to pick them.
So Walk in the Clouds is next week for Keanu month.
Yeah, it's a phase in his career where like he starts to do like more of like the romance type of stuff. What?
If you're choosing a romance film, it must be pretty fucking good.
Well, I mean, I remember. Yeah, I watched it as a young person, and I enjoyed the story. I thought it was. I don't want to give away too much, but yeah, I really enjoyed the story, and I like the elements of family and I don't want. I'm gonna stop talking because I don't want to give anything away. But yeah, that's what's in store for next week. A Walk in the Clouds.
Yeah.
All right, folks. With that, that
Cool,
brings
man.
us to the end of our stream. I hope you had a good time. I had a good time. I know Rob always has a good time.
Always.
Yeah, and I hope you had a good time as well. Don't forget to check out the library of other content that we have. The Circle of Jerks main podcast, old episodes of Nocturnal Transmission with the movie reviews, and Rob's gaming show, Up by Up Down. Don't forget to follow us on our various social media accounts, formerly Twitter, now X, and Letterboxd at PodcastCOJ, and Instagram at Circle of Jerks Podcast. And with all that said, we thank you for joining us tonight. Come back next week, and we'll do it all over again. Have a good night.